I'm Alex Larson, dietitian, Ironman finisher, and host of Endurance Eats, the podcast where we break down the science of endurance nutrition and turn it into clear, practical nutrition advice to revolutionize how you think about fueling your body. So grab a seat, or keep moving if you're out training, and let's get started. This episode is brought to you by my digital fueling guides. If you've ever wondered how much fuel you need before your workouts, how to strategically prepare your fueling for a successful race, and how to kickstart your post-training recovery, I've got you. Grab my digital fueling guides. They cover pre, during, and post-workout nutrition with real strategies, templates, and tools to help you perform better, feel stronger, and keep your relationship with food positive. The full bundle with all 3 guides is just $45, and you can snag 15% off with the code ENDURANCEEATS. Head to alexlarsonnutrition.com/shop or tap the link in the show notes for more. Hey there, welcome back to Endurance Eats. I'm so glad you're here because today we are diving into a season that's equal parts magical and messy. The holidays. If you've ever felt torn between fueling your body and enjoying that slice of pie, this episode is for you. I brought Hannah and Mary back on to chat through all the challenges athletes face this time of year, from societal pressures and jam-packed schedules to that lingering fear of falling off track with nutrition. But don't worry, we're not about restriction or guilt here. We're talking real strategies, fun fueling tips, and how to keep your goals in sight without sacrificing joy. Let's get into it. Hey ladies, thanks for being back here. We're going to talk holidays. I love this time of year, just getting to witness it through the eyes of my kids, but it also comes with a lot of challenges because the holidays are centered around food. And food is more than just fuel. It is traditional, it's cultural, it's social. There's a lot of nostalgia and emotions tied with it. And I feel like with anything year round that we have to have that balance between enjoyment, but also meeting our needs as an athlete and our goals. All right, Hannah, Mary, what are the biggest barriers that we see for our clients and for athletes in terms of eating well during the holiday season? What do you guys got?
I think a lot of athletes just lack confidence in general, and there's this lingering fear almost. And if we look at the holiday season, at least in the United States, it kind of just keeps dragging on, right?
It's really long.
I mean, from my favorite candy corn season,
yeah.
Well, actually it starts in September, but we'll just say Halloween time.
Yes.
And then there's Thanksgiving, and then there's the Christmas season and New Year's. And it's like, in hindsight, it ends up being like a full 2.5 months. So all that to say is I think many athletes are just fearful of that amount of time, that amount of pressure of social just events, and knowing how to navigate that season.
Yeah.
Or also that feeling of like, what's the point of really thinking about like really focusing in on healthy habits when you're just going to be leading into the next holiday? It's like, let's just get through the next holiday and then we'll start. After New Year's, it's Valentine's, and then it's Super Bowl, and then Easter is right around the corner. So it's literally like maybe even beyond that 2.5 months. It could be 5 or 6 for some.
And then there's summer. And I like to approach with nutrition that a lot of the tools and strategies we're going to talk about today, these can be applied all year round. I love just building a foundation for people in terms of their skills, strategies, having the tools to eat well, no matter what challenges they have to face. But the holidays are particularly tricky just because it's a lot. It's really overwhelming. And there's a lot of more indulgent foods, whether if you work in an office where people are always bringing in like treats and cookies and candies and things that they're baking, they want to share that with people. So you have this like a little bit of like, you feel pressured to try it. It's especially in the Northern Hemisphere where these brutal winters here in Minnesota, and it's really hard to be as active and outdoors. There's less daylight, so you're not having as much like time with the sun and being more active outside. So there's both the addition of like indulgent higher calorie foods, but then also you're not as active as well. So there is like that fear of weight gain that can happen for a lot of people. And I mean, I find it super stressful as a mom trying to plan out like all of the gift giving, all of the holiday events going on for my kids. I've had some clients where they are very, very social people where I'm like, dang, I want to be your friend because you guys do a lot of really fun stuff. And they're going to like all sorts of like multiple parties a week. And that's really tough. And then the celebration like around alcohol also is another factor as well. So there's lots of things going on, and every individual person has a different situation. So kind of, I think, going in with some strategy of how do you have that balance between enjoyment, getting everything that you need, but also meeting your needs as an athlete is a really good approach to that. But I think one of my favorite things to talk with my athletes about is fueling your workouts with some of those like seasonal holiday
I love
foods.
this strategy. I love this strategy. Pretty
I do
sure
too.
on our blog we have a cookie recipe. Don't we have a holiday cookie recipe?
Yeah, it's my grandma's gingerbread recipe.
Yes.
She had like a Betty Crocker cookbook from like the 1960s that adjusted it slightly, but it's like the best cookie recipe ever. And it just is like a powdered sugar kind of frosting on top, and it's so good. It's just a classic. Like, let's start with Halloween for a holiday. What are we using to fuel our workouts with around Halloween? What are our go-tos?
Oh, Hannah and Alex, you know I'm doing candy corn.
I love a good candy corn too.
I do too.
It's we're team ALN over here. We're team candy corn. I'm curious for those listening, like send us a comment or a message. Like, are you team candy corn or not? It's okay if you don't like it. It's kind of one of those love it or hate it candies, but
we'll only judge you a little bit if you say that you're not.
Just slightly.
I'm like, it's so good. But I would say, what else is there with Halloween? Like,
I mean, all of the gummy ones.
Yeah, like Swedish
Your
fish,
kids go trick-or-treating, the
Nerds clusters, Twizzlers, yeah, gummy bears,
totally.
all of those. I raid my kids. Like if I'm like, oh, I'm gonna I need some fuel for my workout, I'm first going to my kids' Halloween candy stash and selecting from there because it's just the best.
The thing is too, those options are so easy to get down the hatch for fueling your workouts. I mean, and most of them, I mean, a few pieces equate to a gel or a goo or a Morton gel, which is anywhere from like $1.50 to $5 for a single packet. So it's much more cost effective as well. And not to mention it's fun, right? It's breaking the monotony of fueling your workouts with gels and all of these great options that have fueled your workouts historically, but it's good to break the monotony with a lot of these fun holiday options too.
Yeah. Those sweet tart ropes, have you ever had those? Those are delicious.
Those are good.
They're really good.
Yeah, I like that you say that, Mary, too, about breaking the monotony, too, because especially this time of year, as we're entering shorter days, it's a little more gloomy out. It's hard to find the motivation, especially if it's like you have to change the routes because it's starting to get darker earlier. I think bringing some fun into workouts with changing the fueling just by like, hey, I'm going to have a little bit of my Halloween candy now, I think is a way to change things up and kind of bring some spark back to the training that you might be missing this time of year.
Yeah. And then we like shift into Thanksgiving, which doesn't have like a lot of sweet treats involved with it, but there's definitely like a pie aspect of like pumpkin pie here in the US.
Dinner rolls.
Dinner
rolls.
Crescent rolls. Oh my God. My
one.
kids live off of crescent rolls on Thanksgiving. Like they basically eat olives and crescent rolls and pickles. And
I mean,
like,
they sound like kids.
They like at one point, I'm pretty sure they like between the two boys, they had like a dozen crescent rolls. Like it was insane.
I feel like aren't there like a million memes out there where it's like I spent 12 hours prepping this Thanksgiving dinner and my kids ate the charcuterie board and the Grand's crescent rolls out of a can.
Yeah, like I just go in with like zero expectations for them, where I feed them a good breakfast. They eat whatever the hell they want at Thanksgiving holiday meals, and then we just go back, like have maybe something like a bowl of cereal for their evening dinner, like bedtime snack, and then the next day we just restart in our usual nutrition. So like it's just challenging. But the other thing about Thanksgiving I find is some people go into it with this mindset of like, I'm going to try and eat as much as possible on this day. And I'm like, why would you go into that? Like, you just don't feel good. Like, hey, let's enjoy our food, eat a reasonable amount, don't go crazy so that you don't feel like crap for like the days afterwards. But like, I do love here in northern Minnesota, we have a pie. It's a raspberry cream pie with a meringue crust. It comes from the Rustic Inn. People up here, like, they're either Betty's Pies or Rustic Inn, like they're one or the other. And I'm like, Betty's Pies I could pass on, but this Rustic Inn pie is the best. And my mom and I just go gaga over it. Sometimes we will like get a pie to eat the couple days before the holidays, and then we'll have like a smaller reasonable slice on Thanksgiving.
Okay, I have this random theory where you know how Betty's Pies is world famous? Like it
Yeah.
says world famous on its sign.
Yeah.
I think any place that is world famous is actually not that good.
Probably true.
Mic drop,
Some
Hannah.
people love Betty's Pies, and I'm just
It's like Wall Drug, the
there's
five
not
sign
enough
world famous
filling.
guy.
It's really thick
Yeah.
crust, and I'm like, if you love pie crust, then you would do like a Betty's Pie. But like, I don't know,
Yeah.
rustic and
No,
pies are divine. They're really
it's
good.
actually a really good review on it because their crust is super thick, right? Like there's not a lot of filling to crust ratio.
Yeah.
But I would say that the world famous title is kind of a kiss of death for a lot of places.
Yeah,
That's my experience.
They're setting the bar too
Bold.
high. Like the expectations then going into it are too high.
Yeah. And world famous by who? Like who determines it's world famous? Like all of the world?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
They did.
The North Shore is very tourist friendly in the summer.
Yeah.
You know, they do get a lot of traffic, but I think
do.
the Rustic Inn is like my go-to. They sell their pies in Duluth often at like some different grocery stores, so we'll just swing by one of those and grab those pies, and they're just so good. And I'll make like a homemade pie. That's a lot of work. I make a blueberry pie that is out of this world, but it's like 5 different big steps to it, so it's like takes me 2 days to make, so it's like a lot of work. So yeah.
Some things that what I do like to bring in like Thanksgiving, like what you could do, add some canned pumpkin to oatmeal just to make it like taste a little bit pumpkin-y. That's kind of good. Or I'll do apple crisp with Greek yogurt on the top. And I like to do that like after a workout. So that's why like you're still getting like
some carbs and
sweetness.
protein.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, what about Christmas, Hanukkah time? Like there's lots of holiday cookies. Usually the cookies are like my go-to for fueling workouts, where I'm like, okay, just have some of those like sugar cookies, like have 2 or 3 before your workout. And people are like, their eyes get so big, they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, use like some holiday cookies to fuel that workout before your run. Like have a few cookies, and they just think that's the greatest thing
I think
ever.
the cookies is a good example of being strategic and cherry picking. A lot of the discussion I have with my athletes is doing an experiment and having a little taste test, right? Cookie exchanges are a great example for that because there's so many bottom of the barrel cookies out there. Like anything with jam or like apricot preserves, like count me out. I actually don't even want to taste that. There's like monster cookie and peanut buttery, those ones with peanut butter blossoms with a Hershey Kiss. Like, okay, to me, that is probably an 8 or 9. So all that to say is just because there's a smorgasbord of food served in front of you, you don't need to taste test it all. I think it would be a good idea to be strategic and having a little bit of self-conversation going into that and having a little bit of a plan too.
I had someone give me like a menagerie of just like one of each of the cookies that they baked. And so, and I think what's interesting is most of the time I'm like, this can't be anything good. And then I'll take a bite and I'm like, holy smokes, I don't know what's in this, but it's incredible. But anything with like toffee or caramel in it, I'm like 10 out of 10. Like I just love that.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
And even like with like Hanukkah, a lot of those cultural foods would be like the latkes, which is like a potato, like a kind of a fried potato cake. Those look really good for fueling workouts.
Or the arugula?
The challah bread, that looks really good, like that kind of braided bread. So there's lots of options that are great carb options for fueling workouts. So you can use those really strategically to fit them into your holiday season and have them meet your needs as an athlete. And I find like it's just really important to have that balance.
Yeah, I would say echo me if you find this often with athletes that have historically struggled during the holidays. I feel like a common mindset is to save calories for later in the day. And so what will happen is the athlete on Thanksgiving or Christmas will do their really hard, long workout in the morning and
their turkey trot,
and then have like a small portion of something earlier in the day, and they're just so hangry later in the day that they're almost always setting themselves up for failure in that instance.
Anytime that you go into something overly hungry, you are not going to make the best decisions. So I find with the busyness and stressful season of the holidays is have an anchor meal that's all like non-negotiable, where you're always going to make sure that you eat really well. Usually I like breakfast to be that anchor meal, but I did have an athlete recently that said that her anchor meal is actually her post-workout like protein shake or like snack, or that's non-negotiable for her. And as long as she does that, because she works out in the morning usually, that sets her up to make better decisions throughout the day. But we talk about this all the time. We talked about this in our body comp episode, where front loading nutrition earlier in the day, you make better decisions in the evening. And when you go into your evening feeling reasonably hungry, you are going to be making such better decisions. And I think, but be careful about the alcohol, right? Because when we sometimes will have one or two drinks and kind of loosen up, then that's sometimes where those decisions can be not so great.
100%.
Okay, so let's talk more about the fear of the holidays regarding weight gain. What advice, we talked a lot about things in our body cap episode. I think that's episode 24. I'll make sure to include the link in the show notes. But what advice do we give specifically around the holidays to our clients that help them manage body composition during this time? And I will just add, I think of the holidays as like, hey, let's just make a goal of you maintaining weight during this stressful season. I think weight maintenance is a huge win for the holiday season. And then you can use that momentum going into the new year, which people are so much more successful.
Yeah.
A lot of the athletes that I've worked with historically kind of have this all or nothing mentality. And so to your point, Alex, when you started the episode, it's like, okay, if we're going to blow our nutrition, we may as not exercise as well too. So I think continuing to make your training and movement a priority will help set you up for better decisions when it comes to nutrition the day to day.
Absolutely. It's almost like you're kind of working backwards. Like if you know that you've got a workout in the morning, it's like you might think twice about having the second or third drink at night, which is going to also help control the eating a little bit better too. So I agree with you. It's almost keeping that movement as a pillar, because it's just going to feed into making better nutrition choices. And that's ultimately just going to keep the ball rolling. I like the maintenance goal. That's a common discussion that I have with my athletes too, is relaxing on the idea that you're going to continue to see weight loss. Not that it's an impossibility. It's just likely not to be a possibility given the nature of the season, right? Yeah. So even if we can just go into the new year thinking like, all right, at least I've maintained my healthy habits, regardless of what the weight did. If I kept my healthy habits, it's going to set you up for being more successful in the new year.
We certainly have seen athletes lose weight over the holiday season, but it kind of just depends on the person and what's going on for them.
Yeah.
And when you talked about cherry picking, Mary, I also find like when you get to a holiday event, and I tell my athletes, I'm like, hey, do a little like scan of the spread, of the food spread. What is it that is unique to the holidays that you really don't have any other time of the year? Like my aunt at Christmas Eve makes these stuffed mushrooms. And yes, I could make these any other time of the year, but I'm the only one in my household that eats mushrooms. And so I typically don't make them. And so when that pan of like hot stuffed mushrooms comes out of the oven, like, yeah, I'm going to have a few of those, but like some of the other things that it's like, yeah, we have those all year round. I'm going to grab those. I'm going to go for the things that are more unique, the things that I truly love. And if something doesn't taste super great, I'm going to be like, yeah, we're going to skip this. I'm going to cover this up with a napkin. So, my Auntie Gail doesn't see me,
Minnesota nice.
Yeah. Like I'm going to be really sneaky about it. And then if they ask how it was, I'll be like, oh, yep, I had some. It was great. So yeah, like those are usually like some of my favorite. And then back to, I know what it was. The non-alcoholic beers have gotten to be so good these days. A lot of athletes who are trying to reduce their alcohol intake, we're doing more of those. So there's definitely things that you can do over the holidays to still have some enjoyment, but be healthier, because alcohol definitely impacts sleep. So if you have a workout the next morning, you want to still feel pretty good I would do more of the non-alcoholic drinks instead. The other thing I like to tell people is, especially if they're going somewhere where they're like, yeah, there's not a lot of healthy options. I'm like, can you offer to bring a fruit or veggie platter, or maybe a Greek yogurt dip, or what type of like things are missing usually from that party that you could help fill in the gaps, and then use that so that you can strategically eat well.
I love that, because again, most people should be consuming that nutritious option. So it's good for everybody to have that available.
Yeah, adds a little color to your plate. I do also say, like, don't stand by the food if you're gonna, like, the whole night, like, step away so you're not kind of grazing throughout the entire event. But if you are, like, try and stand next to the food that you bring that's a little bit healthier. But yeah, like, require some intention and some mindfulness. I find that, like, there's a difference between, like, disordered eating and, like, just eating healthy. And I don't ever want our athletes to feel like they're on a diet, but I'm like, let's be smart so that you can feel your best. You can stay strong as an athlete throughout this holiday season, still enjoy your time and have that healthy balance. And to me, that doesn't fit into that disordered eating. It just feels into that, like, intentional smart fueling.
I love that.
Anything else that we have for advice in terms of managing body comp specifically during this time?
I think for a lot of my athletes, and this is a conversation that I have too, when I get a message and an athlete is just really struggling day to day or something super stressful is happening in life, trying to pick 2 to 3 bare minimum strategies that they can implement even on their most challenging days. And for some, I almost always give examples, but for some, this may be as easy as getting in 2 to 3 liters of fluids per day, trying to have 3 meals per day, trying to get in a protein. That's it. Like, that is it. But there's a really good chance if that is percolating in your brain, there's a really good chance it's going to set you up to be making better decisions throughout the day otherwise.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that's where that kind of anchor meal is, like, what I'm like, let's just pick like one thing or 2 things that you can still do well on your worst days. And there's a lot of those days during the holidays, I find, where it's just super challenging, especially if you're traveling, which could be any time of the year. But when you're traveling for the holidays with kids and presents and all of that, like, there's so much logistical things that you're focusing on. So if you just have those 2 non-negotiables that you don't have to think about, but you just do, you can still feel decent about your day with your nutrition. And practicing those on a daily basis also then helps set you up for after the holidays, because you're not, like, starting from square one. You're already kind of starting at a point where you're still taking care of yourself.
Yep. And sometimes I've gone as far, even with clients, if they're like, the mental load of even thinking about adding one more thing, even if it's just one thing, is too much. So we have the conversation, hey, it's not what you're doing necessarily, it's what you're not doing that could be really helpful, right? So if it's like, all right, you're not getting much sleep, can you cut the phone out for 30 minutes at night before bed? So you're not doing that, rather than adding something, we're just not doing that, right? Or if the routine has been like, I'm having a nightly drink, okay, can we just not do that for the next week, right? So it's more of kind of like removing rather than adding
Or
during
even
this
every
time.
other night, right? Or
Every other
third
night, right? Yeah, so it's shifting the conversation again, not so that it becomes a negative thing, but it's like more of like, let's remove stuff from your plate when it's so busy, rather than like thinking you've got to add. It's like, okay, let's think about like what maybe would be helpful for you not to do this time of year, rather than like, let's keep adding more to your plate where maybe it already feels like you're drowning. So
Or like,
sometimes
what can you delegate?
I go there.
That I do. This is going to sound crazy. This hasn't been successful for me the past couple of years, but I try and make it a goal that I have all of our holiday gifts purchased and wrapped by Thanksgiving, which is, end of November.
Amazing.
The years that I am successful with that, it's amazing. Last year I was not successful with that. I mean, granted, my youngest was just over 1. So it's like, but usually I start actually purchasing gifts in September to like get done by November. And I've started actually writing down at least ideas for holiday gifts already.
I'm amazed that you can hide those gifts from them for that long.
They stayed locked in my office. The problem is now the boys have figured out how to unlock the door on my office.
Sneaky little rascals.
I know. I have to kind of figure out a different plan. But now we have a boat, so I'm wondering if we like can hide it in the boat somehow. Like, 'cause it's got a boat cover.
Genius.
So I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure it out. But yeah,
good for you.
And
That
then,
is
like,
ambitious.
my
I like it.
my boys are a little older now, and as your kids get older, the presents get a little smaller. So it might be a little bit easier for me to hide them. Baby, she still gets some pretty large gifts, but the boys don't. I mean, they're not going to tell her. She doesn't know what's going on. I try and like get ahead of some of the holiday things so I don't have to stress during the really busy time of things. And some athletes, they're still racing in December and November. I mean, the Ironman World Championships are like early November this year. Sometimes they're in December like they were when they were in New Zealand. Sometimes athletes are doing like the Disney race in very early January, like right after the new year. So they're often still training on top of the holidays, which sounds really taxing. So thinking in advance of like what little things can you do to kind of check that off your list so you don't have to deal with them during the really busy times, I think can be strategic as well. It's an interesting time of year, though I do find that like summer vacations is honestly probably more stressful and taxing for our athletes than the holidays. I don't know.
No, I always have that conversation with my athletes too. I always say like, hey, like December is hard, but July is harder for a lot of people.
It is. It totally is.
Yeah, it's like any time of the year. And I think when you get through the holiday season, reflecting back on like what went well, what didn't go well, and then making some little notes to remind yourself like the next season of like, do this, do that, like stay on top of that, like those types of things. Or I love the idea of like, if you have too much on your plate, like what can you do? Like what new traditions can you start that are going to make things easier? Because I find as a mom, I don't enjoy the holiday season quite as much as I did when I was a kid. So for me, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to have my kids do the present wrapping or unwrapping at my parents' house. But then later on that afternoon, we're just going to go home and spend time together as a family and chill out and relax, because it's really overstimulating for me as an adult, and it is for my kids too. It's tough. I'm curious what people that are listening, like if they've got any ideas or tactics of things that they do to have a great, successful holiday season. And if so, like leave it in the comments, send us a note. Like I would love to put together everyone's ideas and share that, on social and on the blog. We do have some holiday articles on the blog as well that can just help you go in strategically and have a really great season.
And I also want to be sensitive to the fact that this time of year can be really lonely for some people or challenging. And so the eating might come from an emotional space for that too. So it's almost like not necessarily like feeling pulled because the food is really good and you're like dealing with all these people. It could be that you're indulging because of other reasons too. So also just want to be sensitive to that, because the holidays can be like amazing and joyful and awesome, but they can also come with dread for some people just because of various reasons.
Yeah, they're missing people that aren't in their lives anymore, or just even seasonal depression with like less daylight. That's where finding things that can bring you some joy, whether it is maybe fitting in some extra workouts, planning a group ride or a group run with some, finding a friend to be active with or go on a walk.
Buying yourself new workout gear.
Yeah, taking it. Oh my gosh, I feel like I spend just as much money on myself over the holidays, just taking advantage of the holiday.
You should.
Deals as I do.
Should. Like BRE, sponsor us.
Well, I will admit I have started making a little list for my husband to buy me some stuff for the holidays.
Alex, you're like, I don't even trust you. I'm just going to buy it myself.
Well, that's usually what I do. But he wants to get me something, so I give him a list usually. Then he shares it with other family members too. But there's definitely
as long as it doesn't have Legos on it, right?
So, yes. I feel like I just bashed my husband on this podcast. He doesn't listen to it, but he really is great. But he's a terrible gift giver. He's gotten better though. He's starting. I really
It is a skill. I feel like it's a skill.
It really is a skill. I am not great at it. My husband is honestly, I don't hold a candle to him. He is so good at gift giving, but I am not great. That's not a.
Is he bad at anything?
No, not really.
No.
You're going to find something that he's bad at.
I'm going to sometime.
Pickleball? Does he play pickleball?
Well, no, but I know he'd be good because he used to play handball. When he was growing up, he was really good at handball. So I'm kind of all right, it's fine. Some people are just that way.
Yeah, I'm a pretty good gift giver. I will say that. I usually...
No, you are. Me and Mary have been blessed with your gift. I just messaged you, Alex, about that carrot cake jam that you gave us. I still think about it.
I know. I made a carrot cake jam. It smells like Christmas, and it's carrots and pears and pineapple and some, cinnamon and other kind of Christmassy cloves and all of those seasonings. And you cook it up as this jam, and it is so insane.
It's to die for. It's so good. It sounds strange, but
it does sound so strange. But then when I make it, I'm it literally smells like Christmas. Like it is
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you put it on a bagel with cream cheese, it is insane. So yeah, I usually like to do some sort of food gift for like my aunts and like you guys and like my kids' teachers. But yeah, that carrot cake jam, I don't make it every year, but it is a good one. I sometimes will do a gingerbread biscotti. That's very tasty. It's really easy to make.
Mary, you got to do your holiday sourdough. I'm assuming you're going to come up with some cool flavor. Cinnamon sugar, something.
All of the above.
You're very trendy because Taylor Swift is sourdough. Did you hear about that?
Okay.
She's on.
No.
Did you listen to that podcast?
I did.
I did too. In totality, twice.
Twice. Oh, I did just once. It took me a while. It took me a few days to listen to it.
I know, me too, but it was good.
Yeah, she's really into sourdough. See, you're
How
ahead of
does
the
she
trend.
even have time?
Well, she's not touring anymore, so she.
Well,
Still,
she
like-
made an album while on tour. Like that
Yeah.
woman really can do anything. But she made a funfetti or like a confetti cake sourdough, and so you need to do that for your girls, Mary.
You know, I've seen that. I have.
Mhm.
I've seen
You should do that. They would love it.
I will tell you, it's hard to find, like, I'm increasingly aware of food dyes and food,
Mhm.
but it's really hard to find sprinkles like without food dyes. I mean,
They do make them,
food
but they're
strange,
like more
they do.
like,
They gotta
but
cost
they're
a
like
fortune.
well, they
They-
do, and they're
they're-
kind of like a slightly tannish tint. Like it's not
Yeah.
obviously vibrant, right? Because
Yeah.
they're like colored with like beets and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like a little more muted.
Yeah, I don't concern myself with food dyes. My kids' poop is like green all the time because of Superman ice cream.
So I have a question. When you said that we were doing the holiday podcast episode, for some reason, my brain, like when I hear holidays, I always go to thinking about the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows on top, like that people eat on
It's
Thanksgiving.
very Minnesotan.
So
It is.
I want to know, we've never had this conversation. I want to know, you two, do you eat sweet potatoes with marshmallows on top?
Like my family doesn't have that at our holiday meals.
We don't either.
No.
We don't even do like green bean casserole.
We do, but I don't like it.
My mom does like cabbage rolls. That was something my grandma did. And then they make these ham balls. They're like meatballs, but made with like ground ham. Those are actually really good. It's a very like, my maternal grandma was Finnish descent. So like very Scandinavian, but we don't do lefse. We're not like, that would be like more of like my husband's family did more of the Norwegian stuff. Yeah, we don't do the sweet potato marshmallow.
We never
should
did
do a
either.
poll too. We should do a poll with the listeners if they prefer marshmallows or not on their sweet potatoes.
Or what's like the quintessential holiday food? Like for you, Mary,
Yeah.
you think of that. Like I would say I think of lefse and then peanut butter blossoms for whatever. Those are the two things that I think of when I think of holidays.
Yeah, ham balls are probably mine, which is super weird, but yeah, it's just like been a
I've never had a ham ball.
I'll try and get the recipe from my mom and I'll share it.
Well,
Like
put
they
it up
are
on the
really
blog.
good. Like ham balls. They're just like
Post
it's
that
ground up
recipe.
ham.
I'd be totally into that. But my husband like does not like ham and does not also like meatballs. Or excuse me, meatloaf. So the combo of that might be
No, he wouldn't like
probably
that.
not great.
I had one of our clients, our platform that we use to coach our athletes, we have a recipe resource library that Mary and I put a lot of recipes in. And he was like talking about this chicken lettuce wraps that is, Mary, I think you put that recipe in there. I have a similar recipe to that. He's like, this is my favorite meal ever now. And he makes it for like, he made it for his in-laws and it's now their favorite meal. And so I just love food all year round. That's just good.
Totally. And remember, for those listening, a lot of these foods you can have year round. There's no rule saying that you can't have turkey. and mashed
Yes. If you've got FOMO at the holiday season with food, like I had this happen after, I think last year around Halloween time, where I was helping my kid do homework at the table. And all of a sudden I just had this little sweet craving. And I was like, my mind was just so focused on the Reese's peanut butter cups that were up above the fridge in the holiday candy stash. And I was like, oh, I just really want to like go get some Reese's peanut butter cups. And then I had this like, you can have Reese's peanut butter cups any time of the year.
Mhm.
They are not going bad. They can sit up there and they're not going to go bad. As soon as I had that kind of revelation, I was like, oh yeah, I'm good. I don't need them right now. Like, but it was a really weird thought in my head where I went, oh my God, I have to have some. And then I'm like, they're going to be there tomorrow and the next week. And they're going to be here 2 months from now if I don't eat them. Like they don't go bad like a bag of spinach. Right? Like that bag of spinach, I got to eat it up. So yeah, I think with the FOMO, you can honestly have them any time of the year. It's just food, but it is a challenging time of the year. And I think it does require some intention and planning.
It does. And mindfulness, like you said. So it's like we got to train our brains like we do our bodies. And so if we can put some extra time into anything that we can do to strengthen our mind, I'll always encourage that. And that's a good skill to have in all aspects.
All right. Well, ladies, thank you so much for being here today and chatting holidays. And happy holidays to those that are listening. Hope you have a wonderful, joyful time of the year. I hope today's episode left you feeling a little more grounded and a lot more empowered heading into the holiday season. Remember, it's not about perfection. It's about showing up for yourself with intention, even when things get chaotic. Whether you're reaching for a gingerbread cookie before your workout or planning your anchor meals, you've got this. If you found this episode helpful, please rate, follow, and leave a review. It helps more athletes find us and keep these conversations going. And of course, share on social channels and make sure to tag me so that I can say hi. Until next time, have a wonderful holiday season and happy fueling.